Hey everybody, Flip and Danny here, founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies, and welcome to another episode of our podcast called
Freedom Through Passive Income.
That's right, and today's episode is called Abundance versus Scarcity.
Scarcity.
Oh, scarcity. You need to write slower. There's two words there, Scarcity. This is what it looks like. I should put it on the camera. Anyway, abundance, unlimited resource mindset, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Scarcity, limited supply mindset.
And who are we?
Simple terms. I'm mega abundance.
You are mega abundance. I'm abundance mentality as well. So everybody that you meet in life is going to have a different type of mindset, and we tend to surround ourselves with people who have the abundant type of mindset. And every now and then I do come out with a scarcity piece, and somebody will be like, you know, and I've even had one of my team members go, I don't like that scarcity mindset. And I kind of went, I didn't even realize I just did that. So it tends to creep up on you, right? Because we're going to talk about this and how you were raised and the belief systems that you had kind of just drilled into your core of your mental thinking, and how you have to work to rewire your brain in order to constantly think abundance 100% of the time and not creep back into that scarcity type mindset. So this type of stuff applies to everything in life. We wrote down a few things that apply to us in terms of what we think about and the people that we know and examples that we can share. So the first one is we're in real estate. So what is it?
Deals.
Deals. That's
oh my gosh. There are, I did a map of one little subdivision in Dayton, and there was like 7,000 houses in that one little subdivision.
Yeah.
And there's people, there's investors that they don't want you to have anything. Everything is theirs. And I'm like, there's just hundreds and hundreds of thousands of properties in this, you know, and just in Dayton alone. I mean, we're not talking about whatever city you're from, but I mean, even the bigger cities, it's even more. But there's still so many people out there that know, nope, that deal's mine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like us, we will share ideas, we'll share pretty much anything, and we love it. We celebrate when other people have a deal. We ask them, you know, we trade deals back and forth. There's many times where we have relationships where we will sell a deal to them without even marketing it to somebody else, because the relationship is more important to us than trying to get the highest dollar amount that we can get. And these are things that we talk about all the time, even in our community, because then there's other people who don't give a crap about relationships, and they are going to bid everybody against each other until they get the absolute last penny out of that deal. And that's just short-term thinking to me. It's very, very scarce.
Right, and it also goes in with that Zig Ziglar quote that I can never remember. You know, the more you help others, you know, the more further you, whatever. I'll put that on the screen.
You need to tattoo it on your arm. You really do, because you reference it all the time.
I do. I apologize for interrupting this episode, but I do have a quick announcement. You see, this is how we show the social media algorithms that you actually like what we're sharing on these episodes. So, if we're adding any kind of value over this 365-day series all throughout the year, we hope that you'll help us out by sharing the love. So, make sure to hit that like or love button right now. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Now, back to the show.
So other things that it applies to, travel and vacations. We were just talking about first class versus coach. Flip and I started flying first class a while ago, and now every time we fly, I'm like, we have first class, right? We have first class, right? I hope we have first class, because I just got accustomed to the comfort and luxury of first class.
I do it for the pillows.
And even vacations. A lot of people won't take vacations, you know, because they don't save, you know, they're just not financially responsible enough to save enough maybe, or they're just so frugal that they don't think that they can afford them, so they don't take vacations. And that's another conversation of, do you really want to live until you're 80 years old before you actually go somewhere, or maybe never go somewhere, because you had that scarcity type of mindset that money is something that is finite as opposed to infinite, and you can make as much as you want. And so therefore, go, have fun while you're young, and you can actually enjoy it like we did when we were on cruise ships.
Yep, exactly.
Was awesome.
In fact, I was talking with some people. So our office is here in Ohio, just south of Dayton, in Centerville, Ohio. And we were talking about Disney. And I said, well, we'll need to go to Epcot Center. And they're like, what's that? I about fell on the floor.
We've been there so many times. It's like everybody knows what.
They didn't even know what it was and where it was or whatever. I'm like, okay, we need to have a team road trip, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Other things, I won't talk about all of them, but cars, hiring, eating out. Flip and I eat out every single night. It's a pleasure of ours, something that we enjoy each other's company, and having other people cook for us, clean up after us, all that good stuff. Hiring, the mindset shift there is really, many people say, I can't afford to hire somebody, as opposed to saying, I can't not afford to hire somebody. So those are just different mindset shifts when it comes to abundance and scarcity.
So what's limiting you from an abundance mindset? Like you talked about earlier, it's how you grew up. Now, I don't know how it happened to me because, I didn't grow up with an abundance mindset, and there's nothing wrong with that, and then I grew up with that, and then I became a musician, and I'd like to know a musician that has an abundance mindset, because you got to make money to have an abundance mindset. And so, living on a budget, seeing money as a finite resource. I mean, that's what it was. It was living gig to gig. So it's, I'm very thankful that I got here because it's fun.
It is. And I think that there is some mental shifts depending on what you're doing, and musicians can have it too. It's just in a different way.
Right.
What we're really talking about here though is money, right? This whole entire podcast series is meant to talk about freedom through passive income and that you can make as much as you want. And so that's where we're hitting. So how does this affect you, your life, and your decision making? That's something that you should be asking yourself. And it's something that I'm glad people point out when I'm doing it wrong, because I'll be like, oof, what core belief is in me that even came out of my mouth, because it's so not me.
Yeah. And so what mindset needs to change to get where you want to go? It's I keep thinking about it, and this is probably the happiest episode I've ever had to talk about, because it just makes me happy. And that's one of the things. I mean, you always talk about it. I'm always happy. I just am. It's so, it's having that, it's like a freedom. It's like a breath of fresh air. I just know that it's an abundance mindset, and there's enough for me, way more than enough for me, and there's plenty left over for everyone else.
Yeah, and it makes it so much easier to celebrate other people, right? Because you're not jealous of their win. You're happy for them because you know that there's enough wins in the world for us all to experience them. And so it just, it brings you joy to be able to see other people on the same path. So it's a constant process to rewire your brain. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about and share how we've had to rewire our brain to get to where we are today, and how still to this day, people will point it out, at least for me, that I'm still doing it. And I've got to change those beliefs within me that help me, live that abundant mentality.
Yeah. In fact, we just talked about this recently, maybe going back to a car. It was almost 20 years ago, seriously, so almost 20 years ago to the date. And I wanted to buy a new car, and I was going to buy mid-level of this car, just enough to, it was that kind of car or whatever. And we went to the dealership, and I'm expecting monthly payments. I'm expecting all this stuff. I got the go ahead to got the yes. That's all. I got the approval. And we got there, and she's like, well, if you're going to do it right. Get the best one. And I was just like, boo, whoop. And it's been that way ever since. So in fact, I bought a truck recently, and it was a choice between two trucks. And I just, in the back of my head, I heard Danny from 20 years ago saying, if you're going to do it right.
That's right.
And yeah, I did. So.
And it's something that we'll never go back from, right? Once you make this change, it will be a game changer. Just know that. And, there's enough money in the world for everybody to live a very happy life.
That's right. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, hopefully you're already on the group. If you're not in the group, facebook.com/groups/
freedom through passive income. You almost stole my line.
I almost said it. Line stealer. And also in LinkedIn, if you Google freedom through passive income, I'm sure you're going to find us. But make sure you go in those groups, because the whole team's in there, the gang's in there. Ask questions. Let us know what you want to know more about. If you have any recommendations, if you say, hey, can they do an episode on X? We probably can. We've only got 900 more episodes to do. So let us know. But we always like to end every episode with
invest smart,
live happy. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss, y'all.